In today's video, I'll be sharing Dollar Tree sticker hacks to create high-end looking decor. You will be amazed at the transformations and how easy it is to elevate your space on a budget. Now, I knew I wanted my next video to be on Dollar Tree stickers, so I headed to their sticker aisle and their metallic stickers immediately caught my attention. Seriously, the detail on these, stunning. I've never used these before and the ideas just kept popping in my mind. So for this DIY, I'll be using this little tray from Dollar Tree and this metallic sticker pack from Dollar Tree. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick out one of the stickers to place on the long side of the tray. So once I pick one, I carefully peel that off and I place that right in the center. And I make sure to press that down well, especially along the edges. And look how nice that looks already. I'm going to paint this tray and I'll be using this durable Deco art paint and sealer in the shade Seaside Blue. So I apply the paint with a brush and I'll be completely covering the wooden tray with the paint. So I brush that on all over, including the bottom. On the side with the metallic sticker, I just paint right over that several times until it's completely coated. But the trick with these is to make sure it's completely painted over, but not so thick that you fill in and cover up the beautiful details. And so I just use a small brush to delicately remove any excess paint as well as to get to those hard to reach areas. To get the best coverage, you will want to layer in the paint, allowing it to dry in between before adding another layer. And a heat tool helps to speed up the process. Okay, once that's completely painted and it's dried, I'm going to sand along the sides of the tray. I'm only lightly sanding the edges and corners, avoiding the sticker. Next, I'm going to be applying some antique wax. This one is from Waverly, and I'm going to apply that with a damp cloth. You'll also need a dry cloth on hand. I did add a few drops of water to the wax as well to lightly thin it down. So I just apply the wax all over, especially in the areas where I sanded, buffing it in with a damp cloth which helps to blend it in nicely, and then wiping it down with a dry one. And then I also apply the antique wax over the metallic detail as well as around it. I also use a small brush to apply it on top, making sure it gets into all those areas I want to be a little darker, and then I wipe it down with a dry cloth. And I just keep going back and forth with a small detail brush and then wiping it down until I like the way it looks. And if there are any areas on the tray that look a little too heavy with the wax, I just blend it out and tone it down with a damp cloth. I want to elevate the tray and I'll be using these Dollar Tree wood pieces. These were little snowmen and they came in a pack. I'll also be rubbing on some of that antique wax just so that it blends nicely with the tray. I'm going to leave the color as is because I do love the contrast, but I do avoid applying the wax where I will be applying glue. Now initially I wasn't planning on adding legs, otherwise I would have left the bottom unpainted or at least taped off the area where I applied glue before painting, but with that said, it still held quite well. Now I do carefully flip it over after a few minutes and I place some objects on top so that it bonds well. And there you have it. What a stunning transformation. For the next DIY, I want to make a large wooden sign, and I'll be using this large decal from Dollar Tree. Now, Dollar Tree does have quite a bit of wooden planks that would fit this decal nicely, but I did have this leftover wood from another project, and I thought it was perfect. I'll be painting this with chalk paint from Art Minds in the shade Oyster. Before painting, I'll be placing some of these Dollar Tree metallic stickers on the wood. Similar to the one on the previous DIY, these have such a beautiful antique look and detail. I'll be using these 4-corner pieces, and I'm just deciding which way I want to place them. Really, it can go either way. And then I just carefully peel out the stickers, positioning them evenly in the corners. I make sure to press down firmly for a strong bond, especially on the edges, just to give it a tight seal. They actually have good stickiness on the back. The stickers are quite firm and dense, so you can really press down hard without breaking them. I decided to add another sticker on the top middle area. So I'm using one of the stickers from the prior DIY. I'm using the third from the top, which I thought fit nicely. So far, I'm loving the way it's looking, and now it's time to paint. So I'm using the chalk paint that I mentioned earlier from Arts Mind in the shade Oyster. Chalk paint really does give good coverage, but you can use any paint or color you prefer. It doesn't necessarily have to be chalk paint. You can use regular acrylic paint, and that works just as well. I brush on the paint, making sure to fully cover the metallic stickers. I also use a little brush to go over some of those details on the stickers in case it went on too thick. I don't want to fill those details in. Then I take a sanding sheet and lightly sand the edges of the wood. I just want to give it a very light distressing and just go over the sides. And that's pretty much the only area I focus on. I leave everything else intact. And then I apply the antique wax. I use a lightly damp cloth to apply it on all over the surface, and then I buff it in. The dampness really helps to blend in the wax nicely. Any area that's too dark or heavy, I can easily tone it down on the cleaner side of the damp cloth. I also use a dry cloth to blend it in even more and tone down any harsh areas. And then I use a small brush to get the wax on the detailed areas of the stickers where I want it to go on darker. And then I just lightly wipe it down and blend it out. I do the same process on all the corner stickers until I like the way it looks. I definitely darkened and applied more of the wax around the perimeter of the stickers, and I love the way that looked. It gave it a beautiful vintage appearance. Now this wood board was looking so stunning at this point that honestly, I started having second thoughts about applying that Dollar Tree decal. I wanted the wording to look clean, and I really didn't want that clear sticker part around the words. So I did consider designing some wordings on my Cricut, but I did like the large decal, and I figured if later at some point I didn't like it or I wanted to change it up, I could later peel it off. Now applying the decal is easy. I first tape down one side of it onto the board just so that it doesn't move around, and then on the other side, I carefully peel out a few inches of that white backing paper. I even bend it back to crease it, and then I rip it off. And then from there, I lay that sticky side of the decal down, and then I carefully remove the rest of the white backing paper while sticking down the decal, smoothing it out as I peel out that bottom layer. And that just helps to make sure that the decal goes on straight with no bubbles, especially since I'm not using any transfer tape. You will definitely want to seal this project to protect the decal and keep it intact. You can also use Mod Podge as well. That's also a great sealer for craft projects. You can lean it against a wall or add some hanging hardware on the back, or you can even just attach some jute cord on the back. But this DIY is done, and I really love the way it turned out. For this project, I'll be using the square wooden tray from Dollar Tree. I love the detailed sides. And just like the first project, I'm going to be placing one of these metallic stickers on one of the sides. So I go ahead and firmly place that on one side. I'll be painting the tray with this Waverly chalk paint in the shade Sandstone. So I brush the paint on all over the tray, except I do leave the bottom unpainted. I paint over the metallic sticker. Now I did have to paint a couple layers on the sticker for it to completely cover. You do have to let each layer dry before adding another, otherwise you may end up just wiping out the paint, so I just use a heat tool to speed up the drying time. Once everything has been painted, I'm going to lightly sand the edges of the curves, and I'm just using a sanding sheet to lightly sand. And my favorite part, I apply some antique wax on all over the areas that I painted, and I'm using a damp cloth to apply the wax. I apply it over the metallic sticker, and I do apply a generous amount because I want it to get into all those grooved areas. And then I just gently wipe out the excess. I apply the wax on all over the tray using a damp cloth, which helps make the antique wax go on evenly and lightly. It also helps to blend any areas where I applied too much wax. I also apply it on the areas where I sanded, which gives the tray a lightly distressed appearance. I'm going to be gluing this white pillar candle pedestal from Dollar Tree onto the bottom of the tray. and I just lightly rub on some of that antique wax on the pedestal to match the tray. I do love the white, so I don't oversaturate it with the wax. I also avoid applying the wax on the top of the pedestal. To glue, I'm going to apply E6000 over the topped raised area of the pedestal. You can always add a few drops of hot glue for a quicker hold while the E6000 dries. And then I just flip the tray over and glue the pedestal on top of that, making sure it's centered. And that's it! You can definitely customize to any color you like, but I love the neutral shades. It's quick, easy, and simply beautiful. For the next DIY, I'll be making a sign, and I'll be using one of these thick wood blocks from Dollar Tree. I'll also be applying one of these metallic stickers from Dollar Tree, and I'll be painting this one white. I'll be using this gorgeous one on top. Now every design in this pack are all different, but I kind of wish they were matching pairs because I would have loved to place one towards the bottom as well. I think that would have looked really nice. So I just press the sticker down firmly, especially along the edges. Now I'll be painting this with white chalk paint. I'm using a round sponge brush to apply the paint. Now these sponge brushes are so versatile. It does apply the paint quickly and smoothly with good coverage. So just make sure to completely cover the metallic sticker. I do also use a small brush to get into those hard to reach areas. I also use it to remove any excess paint that may have pooled, especially in the grooves. And I just put that aside to give it time to dry completely. I'll be placing this thick home sign on the wood. You can get this at Dollar Tree and it comes in a pack of 2. I will be painting home in black, and so I just apply that with a small brush. Now you can definitely customize the wording if home is not your thing. If you have a Cricut, you can place whatever word you like, or you can even stencil. I just like the font on this wooden home sign. Then I take a sanding sheet and I sand the edges of the wood. I also lightly sand the top and edges of the wording. Before I glue down the word, I'm going to apply some antique wax over the wood with a damp cloth, applying it lightly all over, including the painted metallic sticker. Hey, by the way, if you are enjoying our crafting time together, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Your support means a lot. And if you haven't already, will you consider subscribing? I have many more ideas coming your way, and I would love to have you on this creative journey with me. And after I get that on all over, I go back with a small brush and apply more of the antique wax on the metallic sticker. The goal is to make the details on the sticker stand out, and the antique wax does just that. And then I gently wipe it down. I also use another small brush to clean up and blend out the wax around the sticker. Wow, such an amazing transformation. You would never guess it was a dollar store sticker. And finally, I add some glue on the back of the home sign, and I place that right on top of the wood. And this DIY is done, and I love how it turned out. For the final DIY, I'll be using this oval wood shape from Dollar Tree. I'll also be using this large flowery sticker. It comes with 2 sheets, and if you put them together, it forms a butterfly. I think the colors are just perfect for spring. First thing I'm going to do is paint the wood shape. I'll be painting it in the shade White from Apple Barrel. With a sponge brush, I apply the color. Now, another reason I'm painting it white is because the sticker does have a white border along the edge, and so this will just blend the wood and the sticker together nicely. Otherwise, you can also just trim that white out. Next, I'm going to trace a portion of the flowers that I want to place on the wood. I don't want to cover the whole wood, so I place the wood on top and I just mark the area I want to cut out. So I cut out the area that I traced, and then I peel out the sticker and place it on top of the wood. To clean up any overhang, I just sand that area down, and that just gives it a nice crisp edge. I also place a few of the single flowers on the wood as well. This is going to be a little riser, so to raise it up, I'm going to trim a 1x2 inch wood for legs, which I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint the wood, and I'm going to mix together khaki and territorial beige, thinned out with a little bit of water. So I brush that on and then I wipe out the excess. And I'm only applying the color on the wide sides of the wood as well as the ends. I leave the long narrow sides unpainted because I will be applying glue there. And finally, I just glue those trimmed 1x2s right on the bottom, positioning them so that it's not protruding past the oval shape. Seal it with a layer of Mod Podge or whatever sealer you prefer. And this DIY is done. Thank you so much for watching. It's such a joy for me to share these DIYs with you all, and I hope they spark some inspiration for your own projects. Hey, enjoy the process, and remember that the best creations are the ones that reflect your unique style. So have fun crafting. Until next time, bye!